戦争は変わった。一つの時代が終わり、俺たちの戦争は終わった。
War has changed. It's no longer about nations, ideologies, or ethnicity. It's an endless series of proxy battles fought by mercenaries and machines. War and its consumption of life has become a well-oiled machine. War has changed. Verified soldiers carry algorithmic arms, manipulate social influence, AI enhance and regulate their timelines. Memetic control, information control, emotion control, battlefield control. Everything is monitored and kept under control. War has changed. The age of deterrence has become the age of control, all in the name of averting catastrophe from weapons of mass destruction. And he who controls the battlefield controls history. War has changed. And when the battlefield is under total control, war becomes routine.
Think outside the cage.
The world is getting crazier. People are acting more and more insane. The end of the world is tomorrow. Tomorrow. There's only one thing to do when the world is falling apart. Listen to Basil and Gonz as they discuss this week's news and events through the lens of Bible prophecy.
You are listening to Canary Crime News Talk.
You're listening to Canary Crime News Talk. Today is February 4th, 2026. We are live to tape on episode 913. And today, Operation Nephilim Buzz. Signing on from off the grid, Razzle Dazzle. I'm your best buddy Basil, and you are not crazy.
And my name is Gonz, at Face Like the Sun, director of the Age of Deceit films and author of Archetypalism, your favorite Asian provocateur for Christ. Live to tape from the metaverse to bring you the best news, which is the gospel message of Jesus Christ, while reporting the egregious but the well-rounded, biblically grounded take on world events. It is Wednesday.
It is Wednesday, my dudes. Wednesday.
Got Cody here. He's really excited about all the Nephilim talk.
Cody, the World Eater, is present in the studio.
Yes, he is.
Okay.
Would you like to say something, Cody? No, he's got
Please
nothing to say right now.
Please don't.
Yeah.
He'll blow our minds too much here at the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
Okay, here we are. It's Wednesday. We're back. Time keeps on moving into the future. What now? We've been referring to the Canary Cry calendar here at the beginning of every episode, Gons, but it's been getting a little confusing because time is an illusion. Do we have any celebrations today for today's show?
We do. Mark Zuckerberg created Facebook in his dorm room, or as the story goes, back in 2004. Today. So there you go. That's 22 years ago.
The propaganda. This is the official story that he invented it, not the day that he stole it.
Yeah, this is the day the CIA man gave him the code and he went, "Oh, this is like smoking meats." And then, he got credit.
Big day. Sweet baby Rays. Love the barbecue sauce. Mark Zuckerberg, lizard person. Now, you got to give Mark this. I have not heard of anything in the Epstein files about Mark Zuckerberg. Have you?
True. I have not, but should we do a quick search real quick on the
DOJ
website?
Yeah.
I can pull it up.
Got it up. Little search function. Let's see if there's any.
All right, hold
Mark
on. Cody, I
Zuckerberg.
need you to
Because we gotta give lizard people the credit they're due, and really the only credit you could give them is if they just happen to have avoided Jeffrey Epstein. But maybe it just honestly, he could be in there. He's just buried amongst all the worst possible crimes against humanity.
Feels like we would have heard something already if there was. You know what I mean? Like
that's what I mean. But I mean, there's just so much that it could have just gotten swallowed up.
That's true. How do you spell Zuckerberg? Is it with the U or with a? Let me double check here.
Zuckerberg.
Okay, so it's Berg, like Berg. Okay. I'm going to show it on the screen here so people can take a look. Let's go.
Let's see.
Spell that right. No search.
It's like a slot machine.
Yeah. Yeah.
No search results.
No search results for Zuckerberg. Hey, look, Mark.
You got to give it to him. Nothing.
Maybe.
At least his name does not show up in the current tranche of Epstein docs.
Maybe he's one of the redacted names, you know?
Could be redacted. That's true. All right. Well, anyways, thanks CIA for Facebook and the avalanche, the growing snowball rolling down the hill that started social media and the mass mind control industry of today. Appreciate that.
Who should we tickle next? I am not a lizard.
Maybe he failed at the meta thing so bad that they're like, look, you're not even worthy to be. I mean, we brought you in, but man, you really disappointed us. They dropped him. Well, he spent billions to make the metaverse, remember? And
metaverse. I mean, that just turned into something else. You know, that got co-op. Yeah. That's all part of something. You know, they just needed him to make the tech so the CIA could start their secret pod person, project. So
today is also much more recently, 2023, when Biden popped the China balloon. That's the anniversary. 2023. So it's our 3-year anniversary since Joe Biden popped the balloon. And maybe the timing of some things going on today with China is related to this story somehow. I don't know how. Maybe.
We actually had a beautiful piece of art come in celebrating today, the day that they blew up the Chinese air balloon after letting it fly across all of our most sensitive military installations. Good job, Biden. This piece of art comes from Ionon, correct? Yes. Ionon says, it has been quite a while since I used watercolors. Enjoy, says Ionon. And we have just this magnificent, beautiful,
it's a postcard.
Watercolor postcard. You've got the Atlantic Ocean and all of its sort of romantic beauty with some little sailboats down below.
Colorscapes.
The green and the blues and the tans, and then up in the sky you've got this just beautiful. Where was it? Was it off North Carolina or something? Carolinian.
It went across the whole country, Basil. It started in Alaska. It went over Montana. It was over Montana. They blew it up over North Carolina.
I think it was North Carolina in the ocean. Anyways, and then you got right there just a beautiful rendition of the giant, magnificent Chinese hot air balloon with a pretty anatomically correct depiction of the payload of the balloon, which was this weird sort of satellite-looking nonsense. And of course, in beautiful watercolor sort of cursive script, it says, "Time flies like a Chinese spy balloon." It really does. You gotta hang this up and I don't know where. I was gonna say it would look great, and it reminds me of like a painting hanging up in either an Airbnb or who knows, maybe your rich uncle's house. You go to the coast, they have a vacation home. I don't have any uncles that have vacation homes, but I've seen it on TV. Where you go for Thanksgiving, and it's all very bright white furniture, that sort of East Coast design aesthetic. It's got maybe some starfish and some shells on the on the mantle, and then
lots of French doors with the ocean, the beach right there, the sand is right there, and you got these on the wall.
We're simpatico. That's exactly what I'm thinking. And then, yes, you've got this beautiful watercolor there to bring the family together. Good job, Ionon. Thank you very much.
Yep. And you can go to canarycry.art and submit your art and help us build the culture behind the community here with your art. So one way to produce the show. Yep. What are we doing? Are we going right into it? We're going
to you. What do you got? What's next?
Oh, we got some things. We got some things to talk about. There's some things we need to talk about here.
5th gen warfare.
They're targeting you.
5th gen warfare.
If you're a techie person, you can either be part of the Canary Cry tech team that I think we're still working on building, and we're going to continue doing that. Or you can join the CIA. The CIA just posted this morning, as a data lifecycle specialist, you will empower CIA's ability to unlock the full potential of data through effective data management strategies that drive discoverability, dissemination, and intelligence delivery. Learn more, cia.gov/careers. And they got this nice graphic of the Earth and
It's
HUD
almost
style. And
it's almost a post that like only a data lifecycle specialist would understand too. It's kind of like a
yes,
bunch of gobbledygook. It's very, I mean, it's very recruitment-y, you've got some like
mhm.
emotion in there, but these data lifecycle specialists, they have different emotions. We say happy or content, and they say discoverability and dissemination. Um,
Yeah. Well, I was curious, this job description, data lifecycle specialist. I did ask someone who would know, and they explained how, like anything, any asset in a company, data is treated as an asset. You got to find the generation date. You got to see, where it's been. You got to have discoverability. It's got to be in the data set and labeled properly. If it's something that is past its time, then it either gets archived, and then you have to have a record of the archive, or it has to remain within the realm of discoverability because it's being held because of a court case or something. There's all these different labels and cataloging and all this stuff. And I guess my assumption is that they still need human brains to do that. Like, they can't just let AI do that, because there are circumstantial things where the AI may not understand how to properly parse all this stuff out. But it's interesting. It's data as an asset, like oil. The comparison has been there for a long time, but
or
now it's
bullets.
becoming more tangible. Was that?
Or bullets. But
Or bullets? Yeah.
in the context of fifth generation warfare, which everybody here is very familiar with, this is not a
Yes.
new idea for us, of course. This is a recruitment post, and we've seen lots
Mhm.
of very funny, very unique recruitment posts coming from DOW, from various, government agencies. This one's a little less on the kind of goofy side, but it's definitely this like, it's almost like they're instituting a draft for
Yep.
soldiers, but the soldiers in fifth generation warfare are data lifecycle specialists. Like
Right. Exactly.
they don't need infantry with guns. They don't need, because the war, of course, is not fought on the ground at a front line in a distant country. The war is fought in the minds of not just the civilians of our adversaries, but the civilians of our own people. Like, the fact that
Yeah.
this is coming from CIA, like the CIA account, right? No, not a cute little, PR account, not a cute, it's just straight up CIA at CIA.
What's crazy too is that as we've had this so-called, I'm going to put air quotes around it, awakening, with people realizing what's going on and all this kind of thing, the timing of everything is so on point with the rebranding of the CIA, because traditionally in truther circles and conspiracy circles, the CIA was like, I mean, they still are by at large, a public enemy in a sense, if you're a truther, because of their history and because what they got going on potentially now and all that stuff, all the nefarious activity and secrecy and all
Speak for
everything that's associated
yourself.
with it.
I am grateful for the
I
CIA.
know you're grateful. I know you've been grateful, and we're all grateful. Listen,
That's right.
none of us would have a computer. We wouldn't
Well,
be podcasting if it wasn't for the CIA. Isn't that the
true.
truth? But
We
here's the
owe
thing.
everything we have to the CIA.
They needed to rebrand, okay? And for their rebrand, hindsight is 2020, but it's been really interesting to watch post-COVID, the CIA rebrand through their field agents, all these podcasters, and influencers who are ex-CIA or currently CIA, or openly, they're not secret about it. They're very much out in the open, creating content and podcasts and videos and interviews. And I
Fifth
feel
generation
that the mainstream, yeah, fifth generation warfare, and they have captured almost an entire generation of people, quote unquote, waking up, but
Yeah.
they have been woken up under the gentle hands of the CIA. And now
Right.
they're like, hey, look, you can come work for us now, especially if you're a data lifecycle specialist. We need a lot of those We need your brains to we need to digitize your brain so we can just feed it to the AI, and then we won't need you anymore. We won't need the
I
flesh,
think
just
because we are living in the future, Gons, and as we'll see, I just put in another little link underneath this one if you want to. I think you saw it, but it might be a good place for it. Because of we're living in the future, we've got brain computer interfaces, we're all gonna the whole thing. It feels like the data lifecycle analysts, which remember, we're talking about like 23-year-olds are going to be these data lifecycle analysts. They're going to be like the first to get the sort of government approved super soldier. Think of super soldier. We always think of super soldier as like a cyborg or a muscly guy or a genetically modified thing. But really in the 5th generation warfare, it's these data lifecycle analysts that will have the first access to things like brain computer interface, right? They need to go through the data quick. They need to, put it where it needs to go. They need to whatever. They're sort of controlling the battlefield as far as the 5th generation warfare is concerned. And so you can see these like 23-year-olds getting in there, getting in the CIA, getting a good job. And the first 5GW super soldiers are not the big buff guys, but the brain computer interface data lifecycle guys.
They're brain buff.
Brain buff, right. And speaking of fun posts from the government, we got to bring this Department of War post here. That we just love it. The directed energy weapon thing, of course, we were at the crazy tinfoil hats for decades and decades, but they're just leaning into it now. Department of War CTO, beautiful. Again, watercolor-esque. That's what I thought really caught my eye here, because we had Ionon's beautiful watercolor. This is obviously not, this is like, I don't know, AI or something, but it's kind of got that like watercolory, very moody colors, that sort of texture. But it's, instead of a beautiful beach with a Chinese spy balloon, it is a giant directed energy weapon shooting a laser.
Shooting a laser,
And it's directed energy dominant Department of War. What does that say?
USWR and E.
I don't know what that means, but
I don't know what that all is, but
there it is.
Yeah, if you scroll through the Department of War page on X, you'll see how whoever's doing their marketing or whatever, they're definitely tapped into sort of the I don't know, social sentiment of the generation or something like that. There's so many funny little things in there.
I gotta do this one. Total orbital dominance.
No, I was screaming about that earlier. Where is the tab? I lost my tab on it.
Oh, you have that. I just put the link in there too. This again was from Department of War CTO. Says unleashing total orbital supremacy.
Oh yeah, orbital supremacy.
Image is like this southwestern beautiful landscape. It's kind of an 8-bit, almost like it's a video game. But like blues and purples and oranges, just a very dramatic southwest sunset with a cowboy, the silhouette of a cowboy on a horse, and this beautiful night sky and the giant moon. And then right in the middle of the moon, you get the silhouette of like a, directed energy weapon, space laser who's going to like, I don't know. But it almost looks like the laser is going to mutilate these cows or something to propagate some UFO stuff.
Are you suggesting that there's lasers from the sky mutilating cows?
That's crazy.
Perfectly cut out body parts of cows, left with organs surgically removed, and the farmers waking up to find it. I don't know. Just yeah. It's interesting too. We have, I don't know anybody who has really talked about this in this context, but with all the directed energy weapon disclosure, somebody should go back and really take a look at the crop circles, because Chris White, our colleague and friend from back in the day, he was going to make a documentary trying to interview people and do all this, and I don't think he ever got to it. But his thesis or his hypothesis was that all of those really intricate crop circles were made by lasers, like space lasers, basically. So now that we have confirmation of lasers and military grade lasers, you know, it would make sense if they were like up in the sky and they're like, look, we're gonna etch a little
Easy.
thing on a little
Yeah.
farm in the UK. They'll freak out and we'll see news stories on it and whatever.
Even for like
Um,
tests or something, even if it was as
right.
testing, like the possibility of their little force beam or something. I don't know.
Right.
All right.
So along those lines, so the thesis here being that we are currently in a situation just like pre-World War II, World War I. There is a draft, but the government cannot call it a draft. It's too unpopular. There's too much trauma from generations past. That word will not work. Recruit, and especially in the context of fifth generation war, a tech style recruit thing makes a lot more sense. But the US Army happens to be a little more upfront about it. Now they can stake claim to the I Want You military draft poster that was created in 1917. This is for World War I. And
Uncle
they're
Sam
leaning
pointing
Uncle
at you.
Sam pointing at you, okay? Now they have reimagined this imagery. The US Army just posted, I want you to use AI. Go to genai.mil today. And the post says US Army is now an AI first force. Guided by SecWar's bold leadership, the hashtag US Army team has integrated genai.mil. And I believe every branch of or every military branch of the government is now using genai.mil in our daily battle rhythm, accelerating our innovation and readiness. The mission for the Army team is to continue mastering this tool to unleash a new era of operational dominance. I mean, truly, the fifth generation war means information war, means data war, psychology war, messaging war, narrative. I mean, it's not physical anymore. By the time things happen in the physical world, a kinetic situation, a bomb going off, a drone getting shot down, I believe these are either already negotiated and just for show, or they are mere symptoms of whatever information war is at play.
It's the shadow. It's the shadow of
Yeah.
the war that had been going on all along.
Right.
And
And
it's
this is
interesting too, because of all this, again, really kind of specifically targeted at young people. Again, when
Yeah.
with all this, you got to remember the military and these types of organizations, they're looking for 22 to 25-year-olds, or maybe even 18 to 25-year-olds. And specifically relevant because when it comes to AI, I want you to use AI. These kids in the country and the world it's become very clear to them. It's very clear to everybody, and everybody's talking about it. It's not a secret that they're basically left behind, right? With robots, with immigration, with everything. There's no chance, right? There's not going to be any jobs. There currently is no entry-level positions anywhere. So many kids, even the ones who want to work, can't work because entry-level positions are all taken by AI. And, we just hear over and over again, tens of thousands of entry-level jobs just getting wiped out. So you got to remember, this is pointed towards young people, and it's as the government and as recruitment has always been. It is meant to present a path forward for young people who do not see one for themselves. In Vietnam, in North Korea, even back to World War II, kids are signing up early when they're 16, 17, 18, because the idea is, hey, there's nothing else. I don't have any opportunities. I don't have any skills. I don't have any, maybe I'm in the wrong class, maybe whatever.
Right.
So joining the military for generations has been the answer for young people who don't see a future. And the culture has been manufactured in a way to just give absolute hopelessness to young people these days for the future that we were promised, maybe even the future they were promised, but that promise is dissolving right before their eyes. So again, fifth generation warfare is full spectrum. We talk about full spectrum dominance, and part of full spectrum dominance is manufacturing the culture that social engineers the outcome that you want. So kids are not thinking, oh, the government's making me go in the military. Oh, like you said, that draft language, that's over. That's ineffective draft language, because then you get people who don't want to be there and they get pushed back and they protest and all this nonsense. But they learned that through the full spectrum 5th generation dominance, they can create the atmosphere, create the control, create the media, create the economic conditions that makes it quite obvious that the only option is for these young people to go into these war fighting organizations. It's simultaneously a tale as old as time and this new, brave new world version of what we're seeing.
It's
Oh,
certainly
we got the
repackaged.
Roblox up there.
Yeah, repackaged and shiny for the new generation. Yeah, I'm showing the video of Roblox where these kids are doing ice raids and kicking
Ice
out
raids, yeah.
immigrants. Yeah. So did you
Now-
see that Nephilim in there? The big old Nephilim buff
Yes, the
man?
big muscly guy, right?
Yeah, Nephilim confirmed right here, They got the police with the SWAT guys, but then that one dude with the huge shoulders and biceps, that is very unnatural.
So among all of this, okay, and
Yes.
this is what we're talking CIA, we're talking 5th generation warfare, we're talking controlling the message, the atmosphere, the illusion of the culture right in front of us.
Yeah.
And we noted, and we have seen before, identified the trend that there seems to be a pattern. And one recognizable part of this pattern is whenever a new Epstein thing comes out, Epstein docs drop, or even just the Epstein topic flares up in the broad conversation, suddenly Nephilim, giants, Gilgamesh, etc., Genesis 6, seemingly out of nowhere, floods the conversation, starts in the mainstream media. This is the real hint, is, you get New York Post, you get DailyMail, you get mainstream articles talking about, oh, maybe giants are real. Have you heard of the Nephilim? Thank you, Washington Post. Have you heard of the Nephilim? And the Genesis 6 thing comes out. Now, it's interesting because we're talking about CIA, we're talking about 5th gen warfare. And recently we said, the Epstein files dropped. That's a big deal. That's kind of everywhere. And suddenly we start getting the Nephilim and giants talk in the mainstream media. And on top of that,
They are on top. They're so much taller than us.
which we know already, mainstream media takes orders from whatever intelligence, apparatus wants to send a message. But at the same time, we're also talking about the new media and the, let's just say for sake of credulity, the allegedly CIA connected independent media industry. Sean Ryan, Tucker Carlson, both did Giants and Nephilim episodes almost at the exact same time. This week. And at the exact same time, it's like the trifecta of, CIA intelligence, independent media industry infiltration. Of course, the third in the holy trinity of CIA podcasters, Candace Owens, had to go ahead and drop a Nephilim episode at the same time. It's interesting because, Gons, we in our career, there's been times where we're looking for something, especially back with interviews and topical episodes, and we think to ourselves, okay, what should we do? Should we do, I don't know, UFOs? Well, these guys just did UFOs. These guys just did UFOs. Our other colleagues, they just did UFOs. Let's try to find something else to do besides the same topic that everybody does. Like, maybe that's our instinct. Maybe that's why we've been held back.
We were psyoped, Basil, to stop covering the topic because we had beaten it to death already.
Yeah, because we figured, what do we have
10
to
years?
add?
You're like, yeah.
And that's how you know that, that's our sort of honest, earnest desire as artists to not repeat the same thing that everybody's doing at the time. Well, that's how you know there's some shenanigans with Tucker, Sean Ryan, and Candace, because they all drop episodes at the exact same time about the exact same topic. No desire to spread it out, just almost flooding the zone. And are we here to believe that all three of them do a long episode on the same obscure biblical prophecy topic on the same week by happenstance? Not one of them went, let's hold the Nephilim episode this week. Tucker already did his, so let's spread them out. No, of course not.
Lean in. There's probably a quota. There's a memo out there. You got to cover it. You got to hit the Nephilim. It was maybe once or twice in 2025. Now we're in 2026. There's like 7 or 8 times you got to hit it. Look, here's the thing.
It's almost like the argument about intelligent design. You get like evolutionists and creationists, and they're arguing, right? And the creationists are like, look, here's the thing. The set of circumstances that creates life or this biological mechanism, you can't get there incrementally. I forget what it's called, incrementalism. Like you can't incrementally make an eyeball, So therefore, all of the things happening at the exact same time to create an eyeball suggests that there's intelligent design behind it. Same with Tucker and Candace and Sean Ryan, all dropping episodes on the most obscure topic possible. It says, what are the chances that it's just, random chance that they all put out the same episode? It suggests some intelligent design behind these podcasters.
I like that. There's an obvious overlap with the word intelligence there too. And this is, why do you think this is, we talk about them as playing God, going back to the Garden of Eden and the whole deal. But, it's true. It's like, hey, how many Americans, and they also presented themselves as Christians, all of these guys, Tucker.
Yeah, kind of at the same time. They
kind of at the same time, the cultural trend.
Candace is a new Catholic. Tucker,
and she's Catholic, yeah.
Tucker recently said, I'm not a good Christian, but he started taking that Christian perspective. Same with Sean Ryan,
Sean Ryan's putting Bibles in the foundation of his new house in the concrete.
Exactly.
He's doing the thing. So so it's almost as if they didn't want people to learn about the Nephilim from your average researcher or lowly podcasters with googly eyes or, some random Asian dude on the internet. No, they wanted it to come from some nice, polished, very influential and controversial at the same time talking heads. And it seems that's the case. I mean, on one hand, hey, we're having this, the conversation is happening now, Basil. There's a post, there's all sorts of posts on X about it now, but there are people posting questions like, wait, if they killed the flood killed all the Nephilim, then why are there giants after the flood? And they're getting millions of impressions. And I'm sure L.A. Marzulli is somewhere like pulling his hair out too. He's like, I've been screaming this for 45 years, and and now that it's happening out loud, it's I don't know. Hopefully LA is doing good. I should reach out to him and make sure he's doing okay. But we have this Candace clip here. Are we playing it? It's a 7-minute rant.
It's 7 minutes long. I just put it in here. I mean, we can play it for about 30 seconds. Give her intro or something just for some flavor if we want.
Back in 2002, a group of German geophysicists began making trips into modern day Iraq to map out what they believed they had discovered, which was ancient Iraq that aligned with the ancient texts of Gilgamesh. I'm going to show you this headline because I honestly, this is like unbelievable. 2 German geophysicists, one named Georg Fassbinder and Helmut Becker, they were working for the Bavarian State Conservation Office in Munich, and they began using magnetic mapping to discover the old city in southern.
She goes into the Gilgamesh, the finding of the Gilgamesh, which again is, our people know this back for.
We've shared it many times. The BBC article talking about the discovery of the tomb of Gilgamesh.
I'm sure she gets into the Hillary Clinton emails. I'm sure she
probably
gets into the whole thing. So there you go. Okay, so on that note, we do have another at the same time as all this other stuff coming out. DailyMail article, and let's see what they have to say, Guns.
It's the headline here is Viking-era burial pit filled with decapitated and mutilated bodies, including giant with hole in his skull, is found on outskirts of British city. So
this came out today.
This came out today. So, okay, well, let's see. Because sometimes the headlines makes it sound like it's just happening, but then you find out like, oh, yeah, they found this 40 years ago. And we're just bringing it back for the fifth generation warfare purposes. Decapitated and mutilated bodies were discovered in gruesome Viking age burial pit. Students have made the rare discovery of an ancient grave on the outskirts of Cambridge. Yeah. I don't know, students of Cambridge, this is all suspicious to me, but the pit contains the remains of at least 10 people who are thought to be either Viking or Saxons, dating from around the 9th century AD. Among the bodies, the students found a quote-unquote giant standing at an estimated 6'5" That's not a giant.
Please. They always say
Well over the average height at the time of 5'6". Okay, but 6'5" is not. That is not. However, here's the thing: the towering man was found with a 3-centimeter hole in his skull, suggesting an ancient surgical procedure had been carried out on him.
Yeah, the aliens. They had
The aliens, they had the lasers from space, you know. Other bodies in the pit suffered a similar grim fate, including a number of skulls without accompanying bodies. 4 complete skeletons were discovered, but some were found in positions suggesting they were tied up. The dismembered remains had led experts to suggest the burial site may have been an execution site.
Dun,
And
dun,
there's some
dun.
photos
Or,
here.
or a sacrificial site.
Yeah, it's lobotomizing the 6'5" man. And there's some more photos here. And it's interesting because they do resemble all the fake Nephilim pictures we used to get, you know, back in 2011,
Well,
2012.
The allegedly fake Nephilim.
I mean, they look pretty fake. There was that one with the guy with the cart. That was my favorite one. The guy was like walking a cart out of a mine or something. And it was just a really poor job at a Photoshop with a humongous skull inside of the mine thing. Oh, they're good. But anyway, it's got that vibe for sure. But then there's some pictures with, you know, humans in it. And yeah, it doesn't look as impressive and big and, you know, whatever as they're claiming. Another suggestion is that the bodies may have been young men thrown into the grave in an aftermath of a battle. During the 9th century, the area was a frontier zone and clashes between the Vikings and Saxons over the territory. So yeah, they were fighting each other. The rare discovery was made by Cambridge University students in Wandlebury County Park on an outskirt of Cambridge between the spring and summer months last year. So again, something that happened last year. Headline now.
Yeah.
The timing, Basil. The timing is always impeccable on these things. Dr. Oscar Aldred of Cambridge Archaeological Unit, who led the excavation, said those buried could have been recipients of corporal punishment, and that may be connected to Wandlebury as a sacred or well-known meeting place. So interesting.
One theory here. We're asking ourselves why every time the Epstein files drop, does Nephilim, the giants, you know, even in a story like this, which they're claiming the guy was 6'5", whatever, maybe they were, but the headline is talking about giants and talking about, you know, so every time the Epstein files drop, we hear about giants, Nephilim, not just from the mainstream, also the independent media, industrial complex, the CIA, podcasters, things like that, just absolutely flood the zone with Genesis 6, Gilgamesh, Nephilim, and giants. One possibility, I wonder, is if there are things about Nephilim, giants, I don't know, Gilgamesh or something in the Epstein files. And while all these other Epstein file things are available and thrown out in our face, I mean, so much even it's impossible to sift through them, that this can really affect things like SEO, things like, you know, Epstein's email about giants gets completely buried under the most famous, you know, personalities on the internet, flooding the zone all at the same time. I mean, that's one possibility. I think I did see some posts here and there about reference to giants and Gilgamesh in the Epstein files. I have not seen them again.
There's a Gilgamesh one.
They could also be totally fake. I mean, at this point, it's really hard to trust any individual post coming out.
Yeah, no, there's a I just pulled it up right here straight from the DOJ website. There's an email exchange to Jeffrey Epstein from Redacted, and it says, Brad Swonet's redo iVine. I don't know what this is. The subject is a strikingly accurate way to measure human aging through epigenetic signatures. A lot of epigenetics, so the transhuman thing, the COVID thing, and that whole thing, all the woke stuff, the transgender, we know that it all ties back to the Epstein and the, you know, this whole crew here. But it says here, the transhumanism, yeah. The letter states, as a teenager in Germany, Steve Horvath, his identical twin Marcus, and their friend Georg Zimmerman formed the Gilgamesh Project, which involved regular meetings where the three discussed mathematics, physics, and philosophy. The inspiration for the name, Horvath says, was the ancient Sumerian epic in which the king of Uruk searches for a plant that can restore youth. Fittingly, talk at the meeting often turned to ideas of how science might extend lifespan. And they talk about artificial intelligence in this letter.
Yeah.
This is a letter from 2014 too, by the way. So,
and surprise, surprise, the talk about Gilgamesh, which of course references giants and the Nephilim and the flood and Genesis 6 and the whole shebang, which we have always, tied back to the transhumanist thing, because transhumanism, again, while now everybody knows the word transhumanism, very few reiterate how transhumanism is a direct spiritual lineage of the Tower of Babel, which is a spiritual lineage to the garden, which is a direct spiritual
Genesis
lineage
6
to the
in the
fall
garden.
of Lucifer, which, man's essential mishap is the desire and perhaps believing the lie that humans can become as gods. It was the problem in the garden. It was the problem at the Tower of Babel. And now we see today, transhumanism really is the modern manifestation of we can be as gods. We can live forever. We can create our own biology. We can, and surprise, surprise, in this revelation about, the elites and all of the most demonic parts of their what seems to be daily lifestyle, ties back to that essential part of the fall, the almost this impulse. Some of them consider it a requirement that humans have the responsibility to become as gods, to take control over biology, to live forever. From Elon to Epstein to whoever, to Jared Kushner. And so when you're talking, people are very focused on, all the elites and all the governments are all satanic pedophiles. Remember, all the elites and all the governments are all transhumanists as well, with Epstein having direct, not just conversations, spending millions and billions of dollars to have his Zorro ranch, to have his breeding facility, to have his, the first designer baby. This is where some emails, are supporting what we all knew already. Maybe not we all, maybe this was the more obscure.
Canarians knew for sure. Yeah.
Canarians
Everybody
knew
else
that
is learning
Epstein
now.
was very involved in actually bringing forth the first designer babies. He considered it like his life goal to create super engineered babies with his own DNA. And so while the world, and maybe social engineering is a part of this, of course, social engineering is part of this, but while everybody's, rightfully enraged and focused on the elite satanic pedophile ring, there's not a whole lot of making a connection to the cosmic sort of chess match that's been going on for thousands of years, which is the elite's desire and almost single-minded ravenousness for eternity and taking control of what God ultimately created and controls. So, having a broad picture of this whole thing helps me, at least, not get so stuck on any individual horrible demonic email that I see.
Yeah, for sure. And there's a little sentence here at the end of this letter from the Epstein files that I think sums it up nicely. It says, in that way, Gilgamesh's ancient quest for a way to delay the inevitable lives on. And I think that is the torch that's been carried by the alchemists in the Middle Ages and into the occultists and esotericists during the Enlightenment period, and now carried into the modern era with some of these weird folks that are attached to these things. But here's just as a meta-analysis too, Basil, of stepping back. I know the Epstein thing, we were trying not to talk about it, but it's kind of impossible. It's like in everything. But it made me realize too, this whole Epstein thing, by the way, for all of the people watching and reading and going in and digging in, the fact that we're all saying that, it's all official now, because it's in the Epstein files, because it's published on a .gov website, just remember that we are reinforcing the authority of government here. Because now that it's on a .gov website, it's all official, right? So we're inadvertently giving the federal government more power and more authority, or
At
maintaining
least
that
more
authority.
credibility.
Or
It's,
credibility,
more
right?
credibility.
Because they published it on their .gov. Now we know, and of course, it had to be this way under the conditions of mainstream media, and then everyone's aware of how propaganda works. You would have to do it in a way that people would suspend all those skeptical aspects of how the structures of society work, and then
Right.
you know,
All
dig
these
into the thing.
institutions, from the World Economic Forum to the U.S. government, are all aware and are all working very hard, diligently, to reestablish credibility. And they say
Yeah.
it outright. They say, nobody trusts us. We got to get them to trust us. This is one way to put it on a .gov website to for better or for worse, reinstate credibility. Now,
I had one more thought before if you're going to move on, because the other thing that we can tie into our research and history over the years on this show is we identified in England a couple years ago, I think it might have been even 3 years ago now, the masters of the occult and magic. And what was the university? I forget which university.
I think it's the University of Essex. Yes,
right, okay.
was providing master's degrees in magic, in the occult, etc.
Right. Okay. So we kind of analyzed how at the time it could project and play out. But, you know, this article about this discovery, and maybe it's not even like a real giant, right? It's just a tall dude who had an unfortunate end, a tall Viking man who just, you know, had his brain ripped out or something. Who knows what happened? But the idea being these types of quote unquote discoveries are going to continue to take place, and they need the experts in the academic realm to maintain the authority of what it is, you know?
Right.
And people already in the open, because of the internet, they're already being conditioned with the Nephilim story, the supernatural side of things, the biblical arc and everything. It's almost more convenient to get people to learn about it all through the channels of religion than it is for mainstream. So to adapt to that change, you need it's almost like an adaptation play for the academic realm to maintain some level of authority in that shift.
You need the experts. Yeah, we mentioned the only reason a place like the University of Essex would create an official master's degree in magic and the occult. Now, they included like history of the occult, but they also included like magic. I have a master in magic, master in the occult.
They will affect change with their spells.
Is to create a class of experts, right? This is why the university system exists. It's to create a class of experts in a topic so that that class of experts can create the sort of function, the structure of social engineering, of message control, and of official sort of, what's the word? I don't know, just expert control from top down in certain topics.
Like
and we saw magic and the occult and witchcraft became very popular in the past few years. And when you have a huge popular thing like that, that's when the control mechanisms go, okay, we need to control this. How do we do that? Okay, we need to make experts so we can put them on the news, so we can put them and people look up to these experts because, of course, they rely on this credentialism to control, you know, society. You need credentialed experts to be sort of the priests of different topics. And in this case, like literal priests of magic and the occult.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to add that layer to this whole discussion.
Well, and it's funny because, of course, all of this we cover and we reiterate for many years now in the context of biblical prophecy, you know, especially the book of Revelation, especially end times, you know, all this, it fits perfectly into the jigsaw puzzle of what we already know about the sort of cosmic destiny of God's creation here. And of course, Gons, because it is 2026 and we live in this dystopia, we know that, speaking of experts in mainstream media, official partnerships with Polymarket, Kalshi, CNN, CNBC.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere. I'm seeing that Polymarket check mark everywhere on X. Actually, let's pull up the number of people that are
official news sources. Okay, a reporter can officially quote Polymarket to tell the news, and so we go to Polymarket because we're newsmen, and this new Polymarket bet is out. It's actually not new, it's been going for quite some time, and the bet is the odds of Jesus Christ returning this year. will Jesus Christ return before 2027? And we see Polymarket says, breaking, the odds of Jesus Christ returning this year have doubled overnight. Now, it currently sits at 4% chance, okay? The betting markets say 4% chance, but it did double from 2% to 4% overnight.
Yeah. It's there's a couple thoughts. Like, one, if you're right, the payout is probably huge, but at that point, does it matter? Like, when Jesus is back, you're like, well, okay, thanks for my crypto, whatever, my Polygon payout after Jesus comes back. Like, no one's going to care about that. But also, if you're wrong,
depending if you're mid-trib, post-trib, pre-trib, if
That's
you're not
true.
a believer, whichever one of those turns out, then, there's some non-believer out there who's going to win like, $500,000 to get him through whatever's left of the tribulation,
Yeah. Well, it's all a scam, because didn't Epstein win a lottery? I think it was in the
this is hilarious. We've known that the Zorro wasn't Zorro Ranch. It was like Zorro Fund or something.
Right.
Which is his, he had Zorro Ranch. He had an institution called Zorro Inc. or something. And Zorro Inc. won $40 million in the Arizona lottery. This was a few years back. We've actually known this. But people are, of course, coming out with new, evidence that's kind of weird. Isn't it kind of weird that Epstein won the lottery?
Yeah. Well, there's articles from 2019 discussing this very question. Isn't it odd that Epstein would win a lottery?
Isn't it weird?
Strange. Isn't it strange?
Now, just some breaking news real quick, because people are coming out with it right now. Actually, you know what? I was going to save it. I'll just say it now. Turns out that in the 3 million documents, Epstein had written down his email password.
Oh yeah, I saw this. Yeah,
which was included in the evidence for the grand jury, and somebody found it, and they logged into his email account, which was still existed.
Okay, sorry. This is inside baseball show stuff. This is why we don't delete links, Basil. I had all the links for all this stuff all laid out.
No, we delete it so you don't go off track and totally bring the show in another direction. I just want to mention that
what you just said is not breaking. It is not breaking. Well, unless you want to say breaking is. Yeah, I know, but that's this morning. I saw it this morning. It's not breaking.
Back off. The only thing I'm trying to move on here, what I'm trying to say is that they got into his email account, and it was active after the date of his death. So somebody was using his email.
Oh, yeah. And I think the password was #island or something.
Yes, it was #1island. #1island.
Great.
Okay, see, we're not going to get sucked down the Epstein hole. We're moving on to the more important story for the day. And that, again, was very interesting. Back in the first version of this, we were kind of one of the only people reporting on the first version of this. Now there is another version. They changed the headline. The headline is currently, we're talking about, we got a pandemic special, Gons. Speaking of pandemic special. Speaking of which, there were Bill Gates emails to Epstein talking about pandemic preparedness in 2017. So, of course, that comes around too. It's almost like, again, because everything is in the Epstein files, we can just
connected to everything.
We don't even have to talk about the Epstein files. It's just naturally, we cover a pandemic. We talked about pandemic. Talk about
one could say we've been talking about it this whole time.
Right.
Without even ever mentioning the Epstein files, we've been talking about the Epstein files,
so
more or less.
I want to start. I want to start with the AP here. We're going to do the AP first. One person is arrested after a suspected biolab is found at Las Vegas home. A suspected biolaboratory found in Las Vegas home and now under investigation by authorities is linked to the owner of an unauthorized California biolab who was arrested in 2023, officials said Monday. Remember that guy? Remember we saw in 2023, a neighbor saw a random garden hose poking out of a wall drilled into the house next to them. And they followed it and found a CCP member who had a biolab with AIDS and malaria and stuff like that.
I remember when Gavin Newsom took credit for it. We're shutting down all the scams. It's like,
right. Turns out they had another biolab. SWAT officers served a search warrant on Saturday after receiving a tip that a biolab was located at the house on the city's east side. According to a statement from the Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department, officers took one person, the property manager of the residence, into custody, but there is no immediate information about possible charges. Now, we have a couple articles on this because every article we find is they're not all making all the information available in all the articles. You have to read about 3 or 4 different articles to get the details. One detail left out of this particular article is that this tip that there was a biolab, I believe, was an Airbnb guest staying in the house, smelled a bad hospital smell coming from the garage, that the Airbnb guest did not have access to the garage. And so they called in and said, hey, it smells weird in this Airbnb. Come check it out. So, AP makes it sound like somebody called in and said, there's a biolab here. Come get them. But it was a much more disturbing version of the story.
Yeah.
Investigators, quote, located evidence of possible biological material, including refrigerators containing vials with unknown liquids, the statement said. Authorities said there is no threat to the public. Sheriff Kevin McMahill said the home is owned by a man who was arrested in 2023 on charges of not obtaining the proper permits to manufacture tests for COVID-19, pregnancy, and HIV, and mislabeling some of the kits for Biolab in Reedley, California. Now, this is the AP, right? AP is kind of the ground zero. The AP sends their story out and other people copy AP's stories.
Right.
So the information that they leave out of this story is very telling and very important, because what they found in the California biolab was not mislabeled COVID-19 tests. What they found were vials with malaria, HIV, I think herpes, STDs, just like a cacophony of vials containing, in both English and Mandarin letters, vials of diseases. Now, something weird is going on that this original story is they're just trying to say, he didn't have permits to make COVID-19 tests. So AP is obviously hiding something here. The owner, and I think I'll show you what they're hiding in a moment. The owner, Jia Beiju, is scheduled to go on trial in that case in April. His attorney, Anthony Capozzi, said Monday that his client has been in federal custody for 3 years. Quote, he is not involved in any kind of biolab being conducted in his home in Las Vegas, Capozzi said. What went on in that residence, we are unaware of. So it just happened to be that he's in jail for an illegal biolab. And while he's in jail, unbeknownst to him, someone else makes a biolab in his house. Very convincing. Law enforcement took special precautions when serving the warrant on the Las Vegas home, including using a robot to clear the home, taking multiple air samples, et cetera, et cetera. And what they don't mention, another piece that they don't mention in this AP article, thankfully, is mentioned, I believe, in this next article, and is that this guy was directly related to the CCP. He is an agent of the Chinese Communist Party. So the original California story was that the Chinese Communist Party was operating a biolab filled with deadly diseases in a garage where they were stealing water from the next door neighbor and took their hose and let it into the garage, right? Yeah. And yet AP seems to think it's important to leave out all those details. Now, even more fun details are given to us at the Hill, Gons, and this is particularly interesting to us, and you'll see why in a moment. The headline here is Senate Republican on suspected biolab found in Las Vegas. Enormous problem. Thank you. Senator Ron Johnson on Tuesday said the suspected biological research lab found in Las Vegas poses an enormous problem to the public after investigators collected vials.
They just said there's no threat to the public. AP just told us there's no threat.
Yes, well, that's right.
what-
AP
is there a
likes
problem
to
or
leave
is it not
out
a threat?
lots of information. Now, it
Okay.
gets even more specifically weird here, Gons. He says
Mhm.
this is an enormous problem. It's under the radar. It's very easy to obtain this kind of information, starting doing this gain of function with CRISPR technology. Johnson said during
CRISPR. Cas9.
We've done it. Another jingle.
Johnson.
Another jingle
Look at
hits
us
mainstream.
go. The jingles are on point this episode, Gons. Great job.
Thank you.
Johnson said during an appearance on News Nation's Katie Pavlich Tonight, using the acronym for Clustered Regularly Interspaced Short Palindrome Repeats. This is a real threat to our national security, he added. Johnson referenced the possibility of individuals using CRISPR, which is a precise, efficient gene editing technology derived from bacterial immune systems that acts as molecular scissors to modify, delete, or correct DNA sequences, according to the Broad Institute, a non-profit biomedical research organization. The technology also allows individuals to disable a gene or insert gene material. So
New genetic material.
New genetic material. So, by the way, we've already covered Epstein's connection to gene modification.
Right.
We've already shown how AP loves leaving out all these crazy details. Now, CRISPR has been one of these things that really was under the radar for a very long time. We've of course, another one of these things that's very popular to talk about now. But now you're talking about, we covered how literally anybody can get into CRISPR. Okay, right now can order a CRISPR toolkit on the internet, set it up in your garage, and just play with it. There's barely any laws, barely any regulation. Anybody can play around with CRISPR. So, we're living on the razor's edge as far as accidentally, permanently changing the DNA of humanity, perhaps even nullifying the image of God within us and, sealing people to a worse
Eternal
fate than
doom.
death. Yeah, who knows? Eternal doom could be possible. But after it, you're going to have to listen to some early Canary Cry radio episodes if you want.
You have to go way back. But yeah, continue.
After an initial investigation, authorities believe the lab found in Las Vegas has possible ties. Yeah, it's possible ties that the guy who owns the house is a possible tie, is Jia Beiju, who was arrested in 2023 for failing to obtain the proper permits to manufacture tests for COVID-19, pregnancy, and HIV. That's crazy that's what they got him on. It's just so weird. Investigators also located pathogen-labeled containers with labels in English and Mandarin, just like the last one, that read dengue fever, HIV, and malaria, along with 1,000, and this was in the other biolab too, 1,000 mice, according to a federal report from the Select Committee on the Chinese Communist Party. Quote, he's not involved in any kind of biolab being conducted in a home in Las Vegas, his attorney, Anthony Capozzi, told the outlet. Man, Anthony Capozzi's got a tough job. Keep going, man. However, there's only one more thing here.
Finish.
He is not involved. What went on in that residence, we are unaware of, he said. That's the lawyer. However, his name is listed as the registered agent of the Las Vegas-based company that owns the property where SWAT officers executed a search warrant of the alleged biolab. According to KLAS, the LLC purchased the home in 2022. So it's been running since before he got in trouble last time. In court documents, the man previously told the judge he no longer runs the companies, though he remained listed in Nevada business records, KLAS reported. So this guy's currently in jail, still running his cool clandestine biolabs bioterrorism facilities. Pretty impressive.
And the topic of CRISPR goes back to literally the earliest episodes. I was trying to pull up an early number. I think there's some in here from May of 2017, which I think is fairly early, and we didn't even put episode numbers on it. But one of the things that I found digging through some of our old resources here, Bloomberg had reported back in, I believe this is, what year is this? 22. Okay, so this is not as old as I thought. But okay, 2022, they reported how China had pushed a conspiracy theory about U.S. biolabs in Ukraine. I
Right.
just think it's interesting that, the tactics that may have been involved in that time period about biolabs in other countries with U.S., U.S. definitely has some kind of biolabs in Ukraine. Apparently, the gig is you can have a biolab, just you got to do it in another country. Like so, if
Totally.
you're China, you got to do it in the U.S. If you're U.S., you got to do it in Ukraine. If you can't do it on your home soil, but to usurp the domestic laws, you got to take it elsewhere, and then you get the cover for a few years until the Hill breaks it, or Epstein breaks the whole topic or whatever. But it does it suggest to me, just thinking about and reflecting about what we've been through in the last few years with COVID tied into this whole thing. It must be that China, perhaps to their population, because they have a closed off system over there, that we know education wise that they are doing a better job educating the youth than we have done in America, in the West. And perhaps the same is true for like actual ethical uses of this technology, at least for the general public, maybe for super soldiers, whatever, but those are, enhancements. And for the US, it's almost as if we couldn't go the way China did because we would rebel. It's like, no, it's not going to happen. So they had to pull it all the way, rip the Band-Aid off, do the pandemic thing. And so you bring out the worst of the worst, and not just the pandemic, but a few years later, bust out the Epstein stuff and all the weird genetic stuff he was doing. And so it creates a culture of what is ethical genetic engineering. It brings the conversation to light because you just showed the worst of the worst with the pandemic lockdown and with Epstein trying to create clones and babies, whatever, super soldier babies or whatever he was doing. Those things, obviously, most people would see that and think it's unethical. But it will allow the conversation to take place of what ethical genetic engineering might look like for the general population. And maybe it's done in the nationalistic sense for like, hey, we got to catch up to China. How are we going to get all these people to agree to do whatever tinkering goes on for whatever? And it's consistent with the message from people like Jared Kushner. I almost mention it, I think, every episode now. That Jared Kushner clip about we're going to be the first generation to live forever, or the last generation to die. That just rings in my head over and over again because the man is so involved with everything he touches. Trump family, of course, the Epstein side of things, the Building 666, the whole list of strange connections to transhumanism. And that goes for the entire elite class here, not just Epstein. It's almost as if the elite class, they're just letting Epstein be the scapegoat while they have set themselves up with the help of perhaps the CIA or these podcasters creating a good image for some of these folks, creating a buffer for them to be the good guys in this whole thing, and then they can continue on with the agenda. They can keep control and keep the population at large funneled and siloed rather than any kind of true independence. But you got to sell the people independence along the way, or else you're going to get that total collapse and rebellion. So I don't know. I'm just ranting at this point, but does that make any sense, Basil, that there's some sort of greater confluence here going on with everything?
I think we all can feel in our bones that there's some sort of greater confluence going on here. And as we've learned, and as especially the Epstein files are teaching us once again, that anybody with some common sense and the ability to not lie to themselves so their neighbors think they're not a Nazi, are proven right pretty much every time. So whatever that is, we will keep following it until the day we die.
Is this footage legit of the actual chemicals being taken out of the garage?
That's like
and
the body cam, or maybe it's like a body cam of one of the hazmat guys clearing out the fridge and the freezer and stuff, packaging up all these mysterious bottles and vials and mice. The mice is the real weird one. Look, Everybody's got some weird vials in their garage. That's just what a garage is, you know. Is you've got screws that you can't remember what they go to. You've got old pieces of furniture, and there's going to be a vial or two that you can't explain. But it's the thousands of mice for. Look, actually, I take it back. I got some mice in my garage. Everybody's got a little bit of mice in their garage.
You don't have a floor freezer, one of those ones that sit on the floor that have where you pack your meat in, filled with vials. Yeah, little gallon Ziplocs with vials in them, and also vials everywhere, all over inside the fridge.
I'm
vials everywhere.
Like the AP, okay, I love the AP. The AP I trust, so I'm thinking like the AP. And the way the AP wrote about it was like, yeah, everybody's got some vials, and look, it's a garage. There's going to be mice. Okay, we don't really know what's going on here. Yeah, don't forget about why he's in jail right now. But it's just a garage. You're going to have some vials and some mice.
I'm trying to see if there. I want to know the temperament here. It looks like all of the vials have to do with whatever experimentation was going on. But I wonder, if there's like a. I don't know, like a Diet Pepsi in there or something. The guy wanted a cold drink and he left it in there with the other chemicals that they're testing for the next pandemic lockdown. But anyway,
depending on your timing, Guns, I say
I'm good. I'm good.
You are good. I thought you had a really time.
No, I have another 60 minutes.
Oh, okay, good. That's about what we're going to use. Okay.
Yep.
Tell us what's up next. We got some sewer surveillance.
We do. We have another sort of called it situation here.
We'll control them with toileting.
And this is for our friends to the north. Secede, Canada, secede. The secret weapon in Canada's sewers. We believe we were maybe the first ones. I believe Whitney Webb did have an article right about the same time we started talking about sewer surveillance. I don't know who was first in that regard. It doesn't matter.
It was
she was she was early in on it too, and I don't know that she's stuck with the topic like we have with the jingle and everything. But not many people talking about sewer surveillance in the context of COVID and everything that happened there. But there's an update that I wanted to bring to you, and this concerns our friends to the north. The headline, The Secret Weapon in Canada's Sewers as America Takes an Axe to Its Health Data. Expanding wastewater surveillance could save lives. And this is written by a virologist, okay? As a virologist, I spend my days thinking about how to detect outbreaks of coronavirus, Mpox, West Nile, and other pathogens early enough to stop them. Right now, I'm concerned about Canada's awful flu season and the fact that we recently lost our measles elimination status. But mostly, I'm terrified of what's unfolding south of the border. The consequences of the Trump administration's cuts to the CDC, the NIH, will extend far beyond America. Those agencies form the backbone of North America's infectious disease surveillance. They track variants, monitor cross-border spread, and feed data into global systems coordinated by the World Health Organization, helping everyone on Earth prepare. I didn't realize the World Health Organization, the NIH, the CDC, they were the biggest preppers. They were the biggest preppers of a pandemic, and I thought, okay.
Of course. That's what I'm saying. That's what Bill Gates is emailing Epstein about doing pandemic preparation in 2017.
Right,
that's why Event 201 was done a couple of months before COVID. Wasn't that lucky for them that they prepared 2 months before?
When those programs are dismantled, Canada loses key warning signals of influenza, RSV, measles, and whatever diseases are coming next. It's a grim picture. We'll detect and respond to devastating outbreaks slower than we should. Canada, intensely overcrowded ERs. Are they We haven't heard this narrative in a long time. Are they really? Canadians, tell us if you're in the chat. Are your ERs intensely overcrowded right now?
Yeah, of course they are, because it's the socialized medicine. It doesn't have anything to do about a pandemic. It's just
I know, but I just remember that being like the big narrative.
Aliens, illegal aliens.
I just remember being shamed for not wearing masks or wanting to, get the jab because the ERs are overcrowded. But anyway,
just ask any Canadian. They'll tell you if you have a heart attack, you got to wait 6 months for a doctor's appointment.
it says 3 hours here. Anyway, the country's research capacity will erode because surveillance data is what we use to spot new unknown viruses and build out public health policy. As the U.S. becomes a less reliable teammate in data gathering, interesting, the CIA is recruiting data analysts or whatever they were called, as Canada talks about how U.S. is becoming weaker or not their friend anymore in data gathering. We should strengthen our own independent methods. Yes, we should become nationalistic in our our surveillance apparatus. We can't rely on the U.S. anymore. The fastest, cheapest, and most effective way to do that is through wastewater. Of course it is. There's my bell. I was looking for that bell. Okay. This approach isn't new. Wastewater surveillance was used to trace polio after the vaccine was introduced in 1955. Oh, look at that. The first wastewater surveillance happened right after a vaccine was introduced. Decades later, Canada became a global leader in this technique during the pandemic. Canada. I thought it was Israel that had the first move on the sewer surveillance, but Canada taking the claim here. In Ontario, where I work, wastewater data told us when COVID cases were rising. Remember those unsettling charts that seem to spike ever higher every day? By 2022, we expanded tracking to influenza, RSV, and other infectious microbes. For a brief moment, Canada's public health officials had a real-time dashboard of population health. So in hindsight, not Macron, who am I saying? Trudeau probably had a dashboard sitting there looking at all your Canadian waste, your bodily fluids waste, and thinking, my country is healthy, my people. Wastewater offers a window into what's happening in our bodies when we're infected with virus, pathogens, yada, yada, yada. I don't think we have to read this part here. Once in the lab, researchers chemically extract DNA and RNA. Maybe I should read the sentence before that. The sampling process is simpler than it sounds. Automated valves open and close to suck wastewater into sealed containers, collecting small amounts over a 24-hour period. Once in the lab, researchers chemically extract DNA and RNA, the genetic material all viruses use to replicate. Using these fingerprints, we can identify if a virus is present, how much of it is circulating, and whether new variants are emerging. They're anonymized snapshots of the disease. I'm glad they're taking snapshots of our waste. How much of it is okay? They're anonymized snapshots of the diseases carried by entire communities. With consistent daily collection, we can track whether infection rates are rising, falling, or holding steady, often before these shifts show up at the clinics or hospitals. Unfortunately, we seem to have forgotten our pandemic-era success. As COVID faded and funding dried up, the provinces scaled back and centralized surveillance programs within the Public Health Agency of Canada. Critical data became sporadic and decoupled from specific cities and regions. Oh no, things are decentralizing. COVID testing in doctors' office is now so rare that it's statistically useless. What little surveillance we still conduct is publicly available, but more challenging for the average Google sleuth to find. They're saying a lot here. Part of the story is simple budget reallocation. The other part is politics. When surveillance data reveals an outbreak, governments are forced to explain what they're doing about it. This can invite bad press, especially during election cycles. Then there are the economic pressures. Many of Canada's agricultural industries have pushed back against increased waste surveillance out of fear that reporting outbreaks in livestock could hurt sales. Maybe it's just they don't like being their poop surveyed, but pulling back is profoundly short-sighted. Ontario's entire wastewater program costs between $10 and $15 million a year, a rounding error compared to pandemic's $1 trillion toll on the province's healthcare system and broader economy.
So what's the
One
what
more
exactly
poop.
are they just explaining the degree of wastewater and how the wastewater is surveilled in Canada, or is there?
No, the bigger story, the main thing, the takeaway here is Canada. This is Canada saying to their fellow Canadians that we need to step up the game, just like in COVID. Remember the fond days of COVID when we had all this funding and we were able to track sewers and get samples more regularly, and we had funding for all that to pre-run the like a fad of people getting sick or going to the doctors or whatever it is. They can see it already in the sewer before the phenomenon takes place, out in the streets. And so they're basically saying Canada was number one.
They're trying to get money and public support to just have like 24/7 full spectrum sewer surveillance. The case.
That's basically it. And of course, they're doing it with the narrative of U.S. bad because of Trump, because of the direction of their health thing, because they're not cooperating with the institutions of the world. And so let's reinvent the toilet. So on the back of this, okay, so we have Canada here looking to find funding or continue. Somebody really put all their life into the sewer surveillance thing in the last few years, and they're not willing to shift gears on career paths or something. And they're like, we really need to get back to the golden days of COVID when sewer surveillance was the talk of the town.
Yeah.
But we also have this nature.com article here.
Toilets!
Smart sanitary hardware for health monitoring. And I'll just read the abstract. The development of point-of-care testing technologies can enable early diagnosis and regular monitoring of disease course and the response to medications. However, the need for a reliable home-based diagnostic technology can be integrated with healthcare systems remains unmet. Urine is a rich bodily fluid containing distinctive biomarkers and nutrients, which can be obtained through non-invasive sampling. Here, strategies to re-engineer toilet systems for applications in health monitoring are discussed.
Toilets! Toilets! Toilets!
Telling you, man. That's a bill. By the way, that ISO, if any of you are wondering what that is Steve Ballmer, co-founder of Microsoft, now owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, who's they have their own like scam going on by like paying their players under the table and stuff. When they were opening, the Clippers had their own arena. Steve Ballmer funded the whole thing. They opened their own arena because they used to share an arena with the Lakers. And during the opening, it was like an opening ceremony, ribbon cutting or whatever it was. He was walking through all the innovations that are in this building, and the one he was really excited about was toilets. Something about the toilets. So if you ever go see a Clipper game, just know that Microsoft is collecting all of your waste data, and they probably, it's probably useful if you're a provider of some kind. Imagine it measures the amount of alcohol and drugs are in the audience, and you can measure through the multiple. You can see it on a chart. When they walk in, they're very sober, but then as time goes on, and they can measure how much is being actually consumed and whatnot. Yeah. I mean, it's probably very useful in that regard, or for marketing purposes. But of course, there's spying on your pee and poop, and that's all we're saying. That's the big takeaway here: is that the surveillance apparatus. This is a less talked about area of surveillance. We talk about cognitive and psychological and propaganda and all these different avenues to control our minds and our hearts and our emotions and all this. But this is one that is not discussed enough, I think. I still have not seen a waste rights movement politically. I think we're going to see it at some point.
I thought we noted. I don't know.
We may have noted somebody trying to do it.
I think it was like a Canadian group who is fighting for the rights of sewer privacy.
Yeah. We need something. We need waste privacy, waste sovereignty. Stay off my poop.
Yeah, well, that's why you have. I think Xi Jinping does this. I think Putin does this, and I think Kim Jong-un does this, and probably all of world leaders do this. But we just hear about those three because they're like, the enemies of America, and so we need to make them look crazy, You know, there was that thing where Putin, you know, he's whatever, he had a heart attack, or Putin's dying, or Putin has cancer, I guess what it was. I mean, even today, they're being like, Xi Jinping had a stroke.
Xi Jinping had a stroke. I saw that this morning.
And all this stuff. So, you know, we've heard about those three guys, about how they travel around and their bodyguards carry a briefcase, and this briefcase is actually a fold-out toilet that they will use because they don't want to leave their DNA, you know, if they're out traveling, or, you know, if they're in, if they're visiting a different country, they don't want to put their waste at risk there. And so they, you know, have their little sewer collector, their little porta potty that they bring with them. But the fact of the matter is, that's not so crazy. I mean, it's not.
It's not. They're just doing what they need to do to limit their DNA. Yeah,
they're just being very diligent. But of course,
astute.
Crazy. So
yeah. I mean, man. Okay. All right. Are we touching on some going from toilet to Epstein? I guess that makes sense a little bit.
Yeah. You know, well, here's the thing we're going to say about Epstein. Okay, it's really annoying. They're, like I said before,
it is annoying. Yeah, it is.
Literally anything that you have ever heard about Epstein is somehow supported by at least one document. Now, we got to remember the 3 million documents. It's not all just his emails. A lot of it is also grand jury testimony and evidence, meaning if some random guy sent an email to the FBI and said this, and that was technically included in the evidence that would be given to the grand jury. It does not necessarily mean that it's totally true, but and there's all sorts of different documents that are included in this drop. However, that being said, there's pretty much not proof, but evidence to every single thing.
It's just adding more to the circumstantial evidence, and people are upset about no justice coming. With, you know, nobody's arrested yet.
Oh, of course. Now, there's also lots and lots of things getting put out there that are entirely fabricated, where they'll take, you know, a document and write in whatever they want, and it's totally
there was a Bitcoin one that went around about that, with how some, you know, the email saying that Ghislaine, the Satoshi name is working for the Satoshi Nakamoto name.
Right. You know, there's a lot of
Bitcoin. That was a fake
Bitcoin.
One, yeah.
There was some real stuff about Bitcoin, but yes,
there was.
Where Ghislaine is saying that she's Satoshi isn't real. And so there's a lot of this. And the point of this is not to say, oh, don't pay attention to it, or oh, da 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 da. We're in this perfect firestorm of counterintelligence. Okay. So confusion and control are all part of the social media sort of X thing. You go, and goodness gracious, you know, there's lots of crazy images as well available in the documents, but there's also a lot of fake images getting put out there that don't appear in the thing. So I say all this to say we have a really delicate job, all of us, not just Gonz and I. We have a really delicate job when it comes to, you know, not jumping on every single thing we see in a post. You know, you got to kind of go through and search. Anybody can search it. If you want to confirm something you're seeing, you can confirm it by going to the .gov website and using the search function, and do it that way. And there's been several things so far that we, you know, considered reporting on that are just not present in the documents at all. So that's just some for all of us to keep in mind. But one fun one, because there's so many horrible things, and you can get really overwhelmed and tired and sad checking on all these horrible things. There are some pretty funny ones that are kind of popping up. For this next story, I'm going to take it from Snopes. Snopes says,
hey, they needed help from MSN. MSN had to mirror it because nobody's actually visiting Snopes anymore. So
beware, image showing Mamdani and his mom with Epstein, Clinton, Gates, and Bezos. So they are referring to a very specific image here, and you can kind of tell immediately that it's AI because it's almost comical, right? Look at this image. It's what's supposed to be a baby, not a baby, a child, Zoran Mamdani. You've got his mother there next to him, and standing behind Zoran and his mother from left to right is Ghislaine Maxwell, is Jeffrey Epstein, is Bill Clinton, and is Bill Gates, and most confusingly, Jeff Bezos at the end of the line. And all of these people in like certain variations of age. Like Jeff Bezos looks really, really young here.
So does Bill Gates.
They all look very, very young, and they're too young. But anyways, it's just it's too perfect. You're just like, okay, it's just got every single person in there that would be, I guess, incriminating for Zoran Mamdani. However, even in the Snopes article, we find some interesting things. It says, claim an image authentically depicts New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani and his mother, Mira Nair, with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, former U.S. President Bill Clinton, Bill Gates, Jeff Bezos, and Ghislaine Maxwell. Rating originated as satire, which, like, kind of course. You just look at it and you're like, that's funny. Somebody put them all in one place. That's a really funny image. But of course, Snopes doesn't understand humor, and so they have to report on everything as if it's, people believe that it's actually fact, which it's possible people believe this if you're not looking into it. It says an image circulated online in late January and early February 2026, allegedly depicting New York Mayor Zoran Mamdani as a child and his mother with sex offender Jeffrey Epstein, blah, blah, blah. We went through all that. For example, wait, what did I miss?
Nothing. That's how the article goes.
That is weird. Okay. For example, conspiracy theorist and InfoWars host Alex Jones posted the image on X February 1st, claiming Grok, the social media platform's artificial intelligence tool, quote, says this photo of young future New York City Mayor Zoran Mamdani with Jeffrey Epstein, Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, and others is real. So even Alex Jones says Grok says this photo is real. But of course, they're trying to display this as like Alex Jones thinks it's real. But Alex Jones is quite obviously making a point about Grok here. In my opinion, from what I know about Alex.
You're saying, okay. So he's not claiming it. He's saying Grok is not good enough yet. It's claiming that this picture is real.
That seems to be kind of what he's implying, just even the way to say it. Anyways, but who cares? Maybe he thought
he's about to break huge, though.
But
huge period. I'm about to break huge period.
But
news on this topic in the next few
huge
hours.
period news on this topic in the next few hours. So even then, Alex Jones is very specifically not claiming it's real, but Snopes is doing his own thing. Jones received more than 1.6 million views. Variations of the rumor spread on other X accounts. Although some readers seem to believe the image depicted a real life event, some readers, there was no evidence it was real. If it were, reputable news media outlets would have reported on it. Snopes. Come on, man.
We've been pleading with the Snopes for a long time. They're so
not
close.
Even trying anymore, man.
They are what they are. Okay,
trying. They're saying, although some readers believed it was real, there was no evidence it was real. If it were, reputable news media outlets would have reported on it. Snopes, what is this? 2008, bro. Come on. The news not reporting on it is not any evidence at all. In fact, I was convinced that the image was fake until Snopes said that. Snopes saying if it was real, reputable news media outlets would have reported on it makes me think that it is real.
You had that moment. You had that moment. The second guess, like, wait a minute.
How is
that's hilarious?
How does it even exist with stuff like that? It's crazy.
He's stuck in the discombobulator has gotten to his brain.
Whoever's over there.
What's the
now it says anyway. It goes on. Rather, the image of Mamdani and his mother with Epstein, Clinton, Gates, Bezos, and Maxwell originated with a funny X account that I can't read on air. a social media account that describes its output as being humorous or satirical in nature. The X account is labeled parody account, and its bio says it shares imagery.
Thank you, Snopes, for doing what everybody can do, which is be on X and look to see that parody account label tag. Okay, thank you, Snopes.
This is where things kind of take a little bit of a turn.
It does take a turn.
It says the image spread as Mamdani's mother, movie director Mira Nair, made headlines for appearing in the government-released files on Epstein.
Oh, the mainstream reported on it, so it's true.
Publicist Peggy Segal said in an email to Epstein that Nair was at an after-party for her 2009 film Amelia at Maxwell's townhouse, along with Clinton and Bezos.
I remember.
And it shows the image there where Nair, the email that shows up, just talking about being at a party or something with Ghislaine and Epstein or whatever.
I could read they mentioned Bill Clinton, Jeff Bezos were there, Jean Pigozzi, director Mira Nair, that's her. Film received tepid reaction, although women like it much more. Hilary Swank and Gear are silly party in Bloomingdale, cheap sportswear department, very weird. Studio with went for
this
free.
Is how
party.
All the emails are too.
Yeah, all the emails are like,
really
no
strange.
grammatical. It's very.
All
bad.
the emails are written just like
they're
weird,
like zombies, man. They're
lots of weird,
tepid reaction. Like, they all
lots
seem like
of
they're
weird
on drugs.
punctuation, lots of weird spelling. So, anyways, it names all these people who are in the image. So blah blah blah. However, it does say that she was in the thing. Now, people have now started digging. There's another image, and this is why Snopes specifically talking about this image and not talking about the other image is a little weird for me. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Mira Nair.
It's a picture of her and a young Mamdani.
A baby.
If I'm not mistaken. It's a baby. All right, the baby one. Okay.
Baby.
Yeah.
There's one where Epstein and Zoran's mother are. Oh, that's weird. Sorry, what's going on here? X is just
this is the one that I saw too. Is this another fake one? Is this the other fake one, Basil? This is the one you're looking for?
That is a different one than I saw, but that is another one.
I think this kind of looks Photoshopped too, though. Yeah, it's AI generated. So
yeah, it's totally possible. Point being, we could dive in and try to pull this image out of the files if it were there. We have not done it. However, there are some weird things. Number one, if you go over to Mira Nair's, who appears in the Epstein documents, Mira Nair's Wikipedia, it says that Mira Nair was married to Mitch Epstein in 1989. I guess 1981, divorced in 1989. So she was married to a guy named Epstein. Now, of course, all the fact checkers have, let me see if I can do this, is Mitch and Jeffrey Epstein related? The fact checkers in the mainstream media have jumped in to let us know that Mitch and Jeffrey Epstein are not related. And much like Snopes, they do the deep work to letting us know that they're not related. And let me show you the basically the repeated line in every mainstream article says, despite sharing a last name, the two men are entirely unrelated. Mitchell Epstein's career has centered on photography, visual arts, and film production design, including work on Salam Bombay and Mississippi Masala, both directed by Nair during their marriage. And that's it. They don't go into like, here's Jeffrey's mom and dad, here's Mitch's mom and dad. Mitch grew up in New York and Epstein grew up in blah, blah, blah. Like, they don't actually do any work. They literally say, despite sharing a last name, the two men are entirely unrelated. Parenthetical, because Mitchell is a photographer and a visual artist and worked on all these movies. It's like, that's not actually very.
That's not a very strong.
But okay.
Well, I mean, even look at this. This is on Mitch Epstein's Wikipedia page. It says here 10 of the photographs he made during this period, this is like the 70s, were in a 1977 group exhibition at Light Gallery in New York. Ben Lifson wrote in his Village Voice review, quote, "He stands between," this is talking about Mitch Epstein, "he stands between artistic tradition and originality and makes pictures about abandoned rocking horses and danger, about middle-aged dazzled by spring blossoms, about children confused by sex and beasts. He has learned the terms of black and white photography, and although he adds color, he hasn't abandoned them. Loving photography's past while trying to step into the future." It's so funny in the 70s. It's like, the future of photography is color. It's just so crazy. But yeah, it's weird, a little weird. I mean, this is a direct quote. Of course, artists being recognized for their
about sex and children. And
that's what I'm saying, man. That's, what are the odds? What are the odds that the art is reflecting on these themes?
So there are people running with it that Zoran Mondani is Jeffrey Epstein and Mira Nair's child. And we've been getting these side-by-side pictures. Honestly, I don't know. I don't really see it, but here you go. What people are insisting is the ears and the eyebrows. I can kind of see the forehead and the eyebrows kind of, having some sort of, I don't know, something. The eyebrows are definitely there. The forehead is that kind of two-tier kind of forehead where the brow, the sort of bigger brow ridge, bisects the forehead. It kind of looks like
it's got the dual, the double stack,
the double stack forehead thing. But anyways, I'm looking at both of these side by sides.
I'm looking at these too.
But, people. I mean, how funny would that be?
What would be funny is if Mamdani is related to the $20 bill, because his biological father, Jeffrey Epstein, all he is, he's just Andrew Jackson.
The Andrew Jackson lookalike is pretty convincing, actually. People, I didn't check this one. Maybe you should check this one on the documents real quick. Because people were posting that there was info about I believe it was the chronovisor, and Epstein talking about time travel.
Yes.
I mean, of course he's talking about a time travel. Everything else he's talking about, he's interested in. Why wouldn't he be interested in time travel? But if the chronovisor and time travel appears in the documents, maybe he is Andrew Jackson. I don't know. Maybe somebody went back to get Andrew Jackson to try to find, bring back some of the forefathers to save the country or something. Turned out Andrew Jackson was a bit of a pervert and things didn't go very well. I don't know. It's possible.
I mean, if our $20 bills start changing in the next year, like in Back to the Future, like the picture starts changing, it's a different dude in there, then we'll know. Then we'll definitely know.
Do you have the search bar open for the documents?
I do. Time travel is not a good one because there's a lot of documents that have the phrase travel time.
But put it on the screen and do chronovisor.
Okay, let's do this. There's a screen. Go full screen. Well, you don't have to
Maybe
go full
just
screen. Search time travel. Or
no,
there's a bunch.
I don't believe time travel was it. I think it specifically referred to chronovisor. Try just chrono.
There's a lot of chrono.
That says Chicago.
No, it's chrono, dude. Chrono.
No, I'm looking at Chirono. No. Oh, there is chrono. Okay. Try space visor.
No. That's just visor.
Come on, you gotta get something good.
You gotta get something.
Gotta get the chronovisor.
Well, obviously, if those two aren't there, there's no chronovisor. Are you sure it was chrono? I think it was a different name for it though. Let me check because you're right. There was a
specific reference.
There was a name.
One of the old
gyrator. The gyrator. It was a machine.
one of our favorite topics because there's all these government documents.
You know what it was? It was the Tucker guest that talked about the chronovisor.
Oh yeah, I'm looking here.
AJ Gentile. He's the one that was
Gentile.
mentioning chronovisor.
Yeah, and he talked about it with Sean Ryan too.
I know.
Sean Ryan and Tucker both had AJ Gentile on the chronovisor. What? Is it another?
There's another name for it.
Maybe it's related to the Epstein files dropping. They're trying to hide the chronovisor.
They're trying to hide the chronovisor. Yeah. I mean, we could, I bet you if we do spend more time on time travel, we can, let me try this. Let me try to put the quotations around it. To
see at the end of Epstein? No.
Well, why is time travel not working?
Well, if it doesn't, I should have saved it.
I am not a robot. You know, the government asks you if you're not a robot. Isn't that crazy?
All right. Let's check and see if this one is real. So this person posted one of the emails from Jeffrey, or sorry, it's CC. Epstein was CC'd on an email. It says, Seth, we should explore the biological consequences of time travel. It would be amusing
I found this one.
to calculate the rate of evolution of a population or a mutant that can travel in time. All right. Well, there's a little bit of time travel in there. Get to calculating.
Mutants and time travel confirmed. It's on the .gov website. Yeah, I found that thing here. Let's see. I'm just going to do a quick scan real quick just to see if there's anything else that pops out here. It looks like most of it is
looks like there's a pretty significant amount of time travel, actually.
Yeah, but it's there's a ... which means it's like the two words are in there, but not next to each other. Looking glass. That's the one.
Looking glass. That's what it was.
Okay. All right, that's what it was. Okay, here we go. Looking glass. Oh,
we got some looking glass.
Oh, this was the Deepak Chopra stuff. That's right.
Deepak
Chopra. By the way, he's not a good dude.
There's some bad.
I saw some.
Maybe not maybe not in the court of law, but definitely skeezy messages from Deepak Chopra, of course.
Yeah. So Lewis Carroll. Most of it's in reference to Alice in Wonderland.
That's creepy too.
Yeah, I know it's got its own thing here. Let's see. Here's one. David Stern. Oh, the former commissioner of the NBA, sending an email to Jeffrey Epstein. Is this the book you like? ? The Annotated Alice, the definitive edition. Alice's Adventures in Wonderland.
Friends and family are listening to me right now. How many times in your life have you sent an email about the book Alice in Wonderland and the Looking Glass, or whatever it's called? Because there are hundreds of references to that book in Epstein, which of course I don't need to put it one way, lead you down the rabbit
hole.
Of course, the White Rabbit, Alice in Wonderland, all tied into the imagery of the most demonic possible things that these people were up to. So a little incriminating. I don't know. Anyways, okay, that's enough rambling around. See, just do your own.
This is the problem. Yeah, you can kind of do your own research here and figure out.
It's endless. If we were, this would be impossible. So,
Ed Epstein. Who's Ed Epstein? That's someone related to Jeffrey?
I don't know.
Epstein?
But we're going to save that for another show, because we've done a good job of going through this.
Let me do one more. Martin Nowak sent an email to Jeffrey Epstein, and all it said was time travel.
It's almost like time travel is like a code word or something.
And there's a PDF attachment. The PDF is labeled G, which
interesting. Somebody coded a Gmail clone and imported all the emails, so you can actually, I think it's called jmail.com.
Of course it's Gmail.
Where you can click around like it's the Gmail interface. I wonder if in that interface the attachments are still connected.
If they're still there. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Yeah.
Oh yeah, good point. Sir Darren is talking about how time travel is part of the Charlie Kirk.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, you have Candace and time travel. You got Sean Ryan and Tucker again doing time travel stuff all at the same. It's too much, man. It's too much.
It's too much.
Too much. That's all. That's it. Like we got some people to thank, Guns.
Shut it down. Shut it down.
Shut her
before it's too
down
late.
quick. We're gonna lose control. It's too much, Captain. We are on the value for value model, folks. If you got any value from this episode or any other episode that's ever existed of this show, just please remember that we don't take any money from corporations, commies, cartels. We don't participate in advertisements or advertising, which is simply just another word for, I guess,
Mind control.
Monetarily incentivized mind control. It's part of the illusory construction of this narrative world that they're crafting all around us. And advertising and advertisers are just another way to control the types of media that get to be seen. Even the fact that we are not monetized on YouTube means that YouTube has taken it personally and has no interest in letting people watch this show because they don't make any money on it. But we're able to keep doing this because of our producers. And the producers are you folks. It's people who have woken up and they go, oh, actually, I appreciate that my time and attention is not being sold, that my consciousness is not being packaged up and sold to companies for the personal gain of my favorite podcasters. I do appreciate that. And I understand the rebellious acts, the nature of the blow, the visceral blow to the face of darkness in this world, to actually participate voluntarily in keeping things alive that this system does not want to be alive, like this show. And so if you agree with those sorts of things, and the Lord has blessed you with time, talent, or treasure to give to the show, please consider becoming a producer of the show. Big shout out to our monthly producers who say, you know what, I get it, I'm in, I want to keep this going. They go to canarycry.support and they sign up for a monthly producership in whatever amount God tells them. It's up to you, okay? We got some fun things like the Canary Cry Supply Drop at canarycrysupplydrop.com or canarycryt-shirtcouncil.com, where you can get t-shirts and all sorts of fun stuff delivered to you as a free gift for producing the show. Or you can just go to canarycry.support and pick your own number, and that's just between you and God. We appreciate it all, but especially on days like this when producerships are few and far between, our monthly producers get an extra special shout out from us. Now, we also have what are called executive producers. And these are producers who come in, they produce any individual episode like this for $100 or more. So they get executive credit that they can put on their resume, on their IMDb, whatever they want, baby. It's a real credit. And I'd like to thank, of course, our executive producer, Sir LX Protocol V2, Baron of the Brian Protocol. Comes in for $100 and 33 cents. Illuminatus! And because he comes in with that 33 cents, that means we're going to disclose the amount of his producership. If you prefer, we do not disclose the amount of your producership. Just make it a nice round number, no frills, and that will send us the message. But if you put, some funky numbers in there, 33, 77, 1, 2, 3, 4, we'd love to share with the world your producership. And Sir LX Protocol is on a 460 episode streak and a 114 episode executive producer streak. Thank you, Sir Alex Protocol. We also have executive producer Sir Jamie, not the Lannister.
Hey, Sir Jamie, thank you.
Thank you very much. Comes in with a weekly tithe. Yes, we appreciate that very much. And that is it for the executive producers for this episode. Appreciate you. And we did not have any other financial producers under the executive producer amount, of course, besides, CageRattlerCoffee.com. Go get it. Go now. CageRattlerCoffee.com.
Sorry, it's loading.
I'm going to keep saying it.
Cage Rattler Coffee, where value for value never tasted so good.
That's right. to cageradlercoffee.com. This is a project put together by a producer of the show, our dear, dear Sir Ike. The coffee is roasted in small batches by an expert coffee roaster, another producer of the show. And the coffee is sourced from all over the world. The best place, the organicest stuff you can get. Sir Ike is truly a master at sourcing the best, getting the best team to make the best coffee, and it could be yours. Stop sending your money to those evil coffee corporations that are giving you moldy, rotten coffee and fighting against everything that you believe in. We got to stop. I mean, it's very serious. Mammon is very real. The places that we put our money not only have very real economic consequences, but also spiritual consequences. So, if coffee is one of those things that you partake in on a regular basis, I would strongly consider being very careful where, who you support, where you send that money, because that is a daily ritual. People consider their coffee like a daily ritual, right? And just, it doesn't have to be like a big, scary thing, but it is a daily ritual. It's something people do first thing in the morning, sometimes before they even say a word or say a prayer or anything. They make the coffee. It is, whether we like it or not, a ritual. And when things like that are repeated long enough and regular enough, and so are so important to us, it begs the question, how seriously are we taking the details of that ritual? Now, I'm not saying make your coffee into some sort of crazy spiritual ritual. What I'm saying is it might already be one. And so be very careful. I think one way to help perhaps improve all sorts of your situation is to get your Cage Rattler coffee. You can sign up for the Coffee of the Month Club. You can get your bags from wherever in the world you prefer your coffee to come from. I love it. Everyone loves it. People tell me it's the best they've ever had all the time. And I want you to try it. So go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. And of course, a portion of every sale comes to support the show. It's very, very cool. And it's just for you, by the way. It's just for you, Canarians. So take advantage of this very special thing.
And right now is the time to do it, because I just found an Epstein email that will really get you rushing to Cage Rattler Coffee to pick up your coffee. There's an email here from Daniel Syad to Jeffrey Epstein, marked August 23rd, 2010. And the subject line is "Coffee, a Menace to Man."
What?
And he says, "Hello, Jeffrey. I send you this article because I saw you drinking coffee last time in Paris. Can maybe help." Okay. And then the whole article is about how coffee is bad. Coffee is not a natural beverage for man.
Okay. That
Coffee.
means
No. Coffee relieves fatigue. False. Coffee increases one's ability to perform. False. Coffee aids concentration. False.
Don't associate yourself with the Epstein emails, okay? The Epstein emails want you to stop drinking coffee. I think that's good enough reason enough to go to CageRattlerCoffee.com. And fight the darkness in the morning.
Yeah.
It's
being told not to drink coffee, so drink coffee, folks. Yep.
You know what? We just had a producer come in just now.
Okay.
I want to thank them. This is producer Alex W.
Alex W. Thank you. All right.
Alex W. comes in, supports the show, I believe, for a nice round number. I will double check that. Let's see. As of now, I don't see a note that comes in, but I'll keep an eye out. If one comes in, we will read Alex W.'s note. But thank you very much, Alex W., for becoming a very high percentage of the amount of producers for this episode. You will go down in history for being one of the only producers under the executive producer amount for this episode.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Yep, absolutely.
I'm going to make sure
you.
to actually write this down. Alex W. There you go. Okay, we'll make sure you get on the thing. So there you go. Now, let's see. We do have our streakers. Now, people who produce the show in the amount of $7.77 or more get to have a note read on the show if they like. If you come in under $7.77, no show, but we do thank you once a week. And most people come in under $7.77 because they are keeping very long streaks going. And so I want to thank them real quick. Of course, we've got Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman on a 186 episode streak.
Thank you, Mrs. Tinfoil Hatman.
Veronica D on a 445 episode streak.
Veronica D.
Sir Scott Knight of Truth on a 594 episode streak.
Sir Scott.
Ooh, Sir Casey on a 599 episode streak.
Oh, Sir Casey. Where's my Sir
we
Casey?
might need to make a call out, maybe Jonathan F or someone, for an episode 600 producer streak.
Wow.
If we don't hit 600, we'll do 666 or something. You know, we just gotta find something.
Sir Casey, the Shield Knight.
Thank you, Sir Casey.
Yep. Thank you, Sir Casey.
You know what? We forgot. Last episode, Nomen Prunte sent us a speak pipe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can pull it up.
Shoot. Yeah, we were supposed to pull that up. If you want to pull that up real quick, I will thank a wonderful group of people real quick, and that's people who are on the Canary Cry text message alert system. If you're not on it, get it now. Text the word Canary to 877-740-3226. Right now, do it. Take out your phone. Text Canary to 877-740-3226, and I will send you a text message before every show just to let you know we're going live. And the fun part is you can text us back at that number. I read them. I love them. Lots of great messages come in. Sometimes I read them on the show, and I will thank just a couple people for doing that. Let's see here. 484 texted today and says, yay, best part of my day. Thanks, best buddies. You're welcome. This one came from 612. This is Judd the Atheist. Well, remember that we Judd the Atheist texted, I think it was last episode, called the Producer. Producers for Judd, but Judd says, Judd the Atheist here. Your producer business worked on my extended family member. Credit where due. Thank you. And I was extremely impressed with Basil's prayer. I have never heard anything so thoughtful and complete in ways I never thought a prayer could be. Wife cried. Well, God bless you, Judd the Atheist. That's very sweet of you to say. I'm to give all praise to God, and to hear that the Lord came in and answered the prayer for your family. It's just an absolute faith builder. Love to hear that, Judd, and God bless you.
Yeah.
We're just so excited, Judd the Atheist.
That's awesome.
Back, you know. Okay.
Yeah,
okay. Let me see if I can get into some. I'm trying to remember. Check here. What am I doing? Incoming is what I want to do. Okay, I was trying to look back at some previous things, but his message continues. Wow, I just got myself into a weird part of the website that I don't know how to get out of. Oh no.
Are you in the text
I'm
messages?
in the message thing. I got into this weird part of the text system I can't get out of. Okay. Let's see. Judd continues here regarding Epstein. Wow, but is this not all an orgy of evidence? Does it not confirm every bias? Why now? Timing of Clinton testimony is a mess. Yeah, that's another good point. The Clintons just agreed to come testify again. We'll see if it happens. I propose nothing will happen in any case. That said, at the very least, it seems they are about as racist as any KKK, or ironically, as any Nazi towards us Goy slave peasants. We can get. Can we get G word now? I'm not sure what G word. Because Goy being negative.
See, they knew. See, Gmail, they knew what they were doing.
You're exactly right, Judd. It's just like overwhelming. The whole thing is just overwhelming, and the timing of everything else is just overwhelming. I am just handing it over to the Lord because it's just out of anybody's control. But yeah, God bless you, Judd. Thank you for the praise report. We call that. And God bless you. Let's see here.
That's awesome.
Nomen Prunte sent a reminder about
it's ready.
I'm gonna send that in a second. You want to do that? Okay. Play Nomen Prunte's thing.
Nomen Prunte here with a message.
Nomen Prunte here. This is where blood and fire bring rest. The holy crown and turban on his head. Pour the anointing oil, put on the coats, gird them with sashes and put caps on them. The priesthood, by statute, theirs forever. Thus shall you ordain the priest and his sons, consecrated to serve the Almighty. Wave before the Lord, it is your portion. It is for the priesthood perpetual, their due from the people of Israel, their peace offerings as unto the Lord, holy garments of the priest for his sons, linen garments to cover naked flesh. The food offered, a pleasing aroma, the blood of the second ram on their right, upon their ears, upon their thumbs and toes, blood on the altar and anointing oil, the garments of the priesthood kept holy, those worn into the tent of assembly. Bring the bull before the tent of meeting. The priest and his sons lay their hands on it. Kill the bull at the entrance to the tent. Part of the bull's blood on the altar's horns, the rest poured at the base of the altar, lest one bear guilt into the holy place. The fat and organs on the altar burn, the rest outside camp, a sin offering. The priest and sons lay hands on the ram's head. Against the sides of the altar, its blood. The whole ram on the altar you shall burn. The altar, transmuting death into life.
Thank you, Nomen Prunte. I like how you can kind of tell where he's at. Usually he's like quiet in a room, but you can tell he's outside or doing something. And I pictured him on next to like a giant river or something, and he's reading his poem, you know?
Very nice. Yeah.
Should be
Yeah.
a bit more dramatic.
The Old Testament imagery there is very powerful. And,
Yeah.
you know, that's kind of part of the, just the whole cosmic and historical impact specifically of Jesus and the new covenant, because very visceral language about the old covenant, you know, our man's relationship with God was, you know, I believe for our own sake, at least, required this blood, required this viscera, because of the nature of our own hearts, the nature of our own relationship with sin. And, you know, for whatever reason, in that era of humanity's relationship with God, it just sort of required this visceral, what's another word for it? I don't know. Just very
like a powerful
real and striking and sort of uncomfortable image of sacrifice. And that's what's so beautiful about the new covenant, what Jesus brought. You know, is that's no longer the nature of our relationship with God, with the creator of the universe. It also speaks a bit, you know, to speak to recent events when we hear about the darkness and the viscera and the gore of sort of elite, occult, you know, spiritual practices where they're sort of still obsessed with this gore and this death and this blood. Having a sort of power or impact. You know, that's a very ancient thing. I mean, go back to, you know, child sacrifice and Baal and Moloch, and, you know, it's really it's a pre-new covenant just way of thinking for a human to think that you know, straightening ourselves out cosmically or whatever must include this sort of this viscera, this I don't know what we would call sort of scary sacrifice thing. And it shows people who are, you know, especially in this case, our elites and the Epstein and blah, 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 where they think that they have some sort of secret, right? They think that they have an ancient secret that gives them a benefit over everything, when in reality, they're sort of stuck back in this old, impotent way of orienting themselves spiritually with whatever's going on here. So thank you very much, Nomen Prunte.
Yep, appreciate it. And we always appreciate those, the creativity and just the inspiration from the scriptures is always very palpable. Love it. Thank you, Nomen Prunte.
Couple more little notes here, just real quick in the text message system. 706 texts and says the Epstein story is being used in two ways, in my opinion. Used as an overall distraction from what's happening economically and geopolitically, along with tearing down confidence in the United States debt-based Ponzi scheme on which the entire current world system is based. Great reset.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yep. That's true too.
You can see now too, of course, since we've known about Epstein stuff for 10 years now, even more public about it for the last 5 years, that the question always has been like, why save it? Why not put it out there? Why are you saying, you know, even with Trump, why are you holding on? Why are you calling it a hoax? The timing of it. And the timing apparently now is the right timing, as is evident by it's the time that they put it out. And it's at the exact timing that we are in the exact transition economically, where the, you know, the world financial system is shifting, where the, you know, gold, silver, all of our financial I guess,
Our
like
rails, our monetary layer is being
rails, our
reset.
anchors,
It's completely reset.
pillars. Yeah, the pillars of our very understanding of how this society is like held up and constructed is being demolished in front of us, and those paying attention to it are like in awe of it. Honestly, it's pretty crazy.
That's
But
wild.
why wait this long? Why Biden wait? Why Trump wait? Why until now? No longer waiting. Boom, the exact moment that they need to muddy the waters for this like history shifting, financial reset. So I think you're onto something. 706.
Yep.
Last but not least, let's see here. 708 says Candace Owens episode today, Tuesday, February 3rd, is all about the Nephilim, Genesis 6, Book of Enoch, and mention of Rob Skiba. Wow. Just wow.
Yeah,
dude,
I
you
just
mentioned Rob
found that.
Skiba? Candace was in.
So
mentioned
yeah,
Rob
I
Skiba?
just got tagged in this message a few minutes ago. Jim Flynn, he says, "Yo, face like the sun. You should reach out to at Candace Owens to have on as a guest now that she's talking about at Rob Skiba."
Wait,
First of all,
might
Jim,
as well send the
Jim,
message.
show us your cards, Jim. Who are you, Jim, Mr. Jimbo?
Maybe
Did
Jim
the Fed
knows.
send you? Did the Vatican send you? Who sent you?
I don't
Yes,
think
that
you need to
tag
be
is
so
fine.
hard on Jim here.
I
I
know,
think
I'm sorry,
Jim
Jim. I'm
sees
just trying
what
to
the rest
protect
of
myself.
us see. Jim's just being
Yeah.
practical here.
That's true.
That
yeah.
would be one way to change
Put
our
our
2026 situation if Candace was like, just answered a random email from some random podcast. Oh, you were the guys that Rob Skiba learned about flat Earth from? Sure, I'll come on your show.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. Yeah. No, I
You're
think
a
she would want
producer,
us to go
Jim.
on her show. There.
Jim,
Yeah.
be a producer, Jim. Send an
producer.
email to real Candace Owens. Tell her about us.
Well, I
and
think
invite her on the show.
This is already doing some of that because she tagged myself and Candace Owens and Rob
Yeah,
Skiba.
you
So
can
this
send
is-
an email, Jim. Send an
Okay.
email. Say, I'm a producer with Canary Cry Radio, and we want to have you on the show. We're good friends with Rob Skiba.
Really?
Send the Rob Skiba
episodes.
Yeah, what was all the Rob Skiba episodes.
All of them. He was on our show a bunch. Yeah.
I know. Didn't we do a memorial episode?
A memorial. Yes, we did. Yeah, we did a memorial to.
Send her the Rob Skiba memorial episode. Tell her we want to get her on the show. Thanks,
yeah,
Jim.
Absolutely.
Right.
Okay, we're gonna have to wrap it up here. I do want to check this one thing. There's one clip, Basil. It's 43 seconds. Vice President Vance speaking with Megyn Kelly. Let's see what he said here.
What's happening culturally in Europe, what's
Very
their
sad.
crackdowns on free speech. And they just look
sad.
less and less like we do.
Yeah.
And there's a real question about whether there's a massive shift happening now in terms of world alliances long term.
Well, it's definitely, I think, a new world order. I think the president has sought to it. There's a new world order in trade. There's a new world order in globalization and the way that we invest in our economy versus, foreign supply chains. There's a new world order and that the president is willing to shake up some old alliance structures. I mean, NATO, I think, is much different because of the president's leadership than it was 10 years ago. It was sort of coasting. It was effectively a protectorate of the United States of America. Obviously, you saw what happened in Venezuela. So yeah, the president is putting a stamp on world history, but fundamentally in an America first way. Like
What's the America First New World Order, baby? New World Order this, New World Order that, American New World Order. Let's go. Where's the golden age? Where's my check?
You know what I'm realizing, Gons, and maybe we need to save it for next episode, but we did have another piece of art or two. We had a microfiction from Runk Smash, and we had a Little Owen song.
Yeah, I was gonna play the Little Owen song at the end.
Okay.
If I can download it properly here, and I don't know if I can actually because stuff is.
Well, why don't you try to do that? And I want to give a shout out to Runk Smash, revitalizing, resurrecting the microfiction style of art for the show. Do you happen to have a microfiction jingle on you?
Okay.
It's okay. You didn't have it set up, so I'm going to read it.
Yeah.
Runk Smash is back. He says, hey, not doing a whole series on this, but I could not let the new propaganda rooster be free from the microfiction tendrils. Yes, I gave a lowdown on the rooster that is currently living inside my house on the last Canary Cry Clubhouse. Go listen to it if you want to hear about it. But this is Runk Smash's new microfiction. It goes like this. The patchwork propaganda rooster stalks the halls of the farmhouse, a new generation of rooster already plugged into the web. Unfortunately, his spookometer is too sensitive, and his resounding alarm has ensured his banishment to the yard. Go listen to the last Clubhouse, folks, so you can get on the propaganda rooster subplot to this era of Canary Cry News Talk. And thank you very much, Rung Smash, for immortalizing him. So,
yep. Sorry, I have to like validate stuff and log in, and I'm having quite the issue over here.
No, gotta validate and log in. Okay.
I thought it was going to work, and it didn't because stuff was not set up properly. So yeah,
Okay.
I might have to wait.
While you figure that out, we're gonna play Lil Owen's song here at the Canary.
No, that's what I need to figure out is Lil Owen's song. Like that's what I'm saying.
I'm trying to buy you some time. You don't need to explain yourself. You just work in the background while I thank our remaining producers, because of course we have a wonderful producer who does the timestamps for the show, and that is the wonderful, the magnificent, the beautiful Jade Bouncers. And thank you, Jade Bouncers.
Oh no, it's playing.
Yay.
Why is it playing automatically?
Play.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Continue to play.
We'll hit the whole thing as soon as we are out of here.
Yes.
Thank you.
Play it at the end of the show.
Thank
you, Jade Bouncerson. Thank you to Jam, who heads up the Telegram channel. Thank you to Adam42, who heads up the Discord channel. Thank you both. If y'all are not yet on the Telegram or the Discord channel, go do it. Connect with other Canarians. You can find the invite links there at canarycry.party. Thank you to Joe for the feedback. Thank you to Clink for clinking. Thank you to Sir Ike for everything he does for the show. And other than that, share the show, friends. Now has never been a better time to share the show because it's all happening. And we got to bring some sanity, some spiritual anchorage here to the world through Canary Cry News Talk. So share it with your friends, share it with your family, share it with your dog, especially if they're too hooked in to the CIA podcast industrial complex. Okay. Go ahead and do that. We like to call it rattling cages, and all you got to do is walk right up to them, grab them by the cage, and then you shake it.
The end of the world occurred pretty much as we had predicted.
I want to shake things up, stir up some controversy, rattle a few cages. Hey, stop that! You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man, a crusader for the little guy. Leave the bird alone. Never. Rattle a few cages. Rattle a few cages.
Human race will have every opportunity to improve.
And if they don't?
Ask Noah.
That's right. Just ask Noah. Guns, you got any last words?
Yeah, I will be very concerned if there is another Nephilim story that comes out in the next few days about some samurai burial in Japan, because we just had the Viking burial with the Nephilim. If they do the samurai Japanese burial with Nephilim, I don't know what else to tell you. I think they're literally tapped into our brains, and I would be very skeptical of all of my actions.
Okay. Yeah, he's losing grip on reality, folks, and that's the way that they want it. Speaking of losing grip on reality, I am doing a big, massive, random series of letters, Guns, and I am linking one last post from the Department of War CTO. It is right there under the microfiction that was posted at the end of our document. If you can grab that, throw that on the screen, there it is. It's from the Department of War, uncaged surgical precision, maximizing lethality.
What?
It's an image
What?
of a pigeon, a humanoid pigeon in a scientist coat with drones and soldiers, and it says maximize lethality, Department of War, USWR and E. That is a copyright infringement. That is
Wait a minute, hold on. So the Department of War is doing the pigeon, and did you see this yesterday, Basil? The debt clock website?
Oh yes, the mention of the canary.
Yes, the canary in the cage on the debt clock on a silver bar. What is going on?
Nobody understands. Nobody understands what it's like to be hooked into the simulation like we are, Guns. And that's it for today, folks. More later. Be back Monday. Thanks for tuning in to this episode of Canary Cry News Talk. Make sure to tune in next time. But until then, think outside the cage.
Remember, reality is an illusion. The universe is a hologram. Buy gold. Buy!
I want to shake things up. I want to shake things up. Leave the bird alone. I want to stir up some controversy. I want to rattle a few cages. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry man. I'm the last angry man. You'll never silence me. I'm the last angry A crusader for the little guy. Little guy. Little guy. Well, we'll see about that.
Whatever, Illuminati.
Value for value. We take no money from corporations, commies, or cartels.
Canary cry.